Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to give you a book review on this book titled The Imported Ghanaian. It's by Alba, Kunadu, Sumprim. The book serves as a record of the different challenges of resettling back into Ghana after being away for so long. So in this book, the protagonist, the author herself, shares her experiences in terms of resettling back into Ghana, her different interactions and the funny aspects of it, as well as the frustrating aspects as well. Now, I received this book while I had returned to Ghana prior to my undergraduate studies, and so it was quite interesting to get a book sharing stories that I could relate to returning back to Ghana after being away for multiple years. In terms of the characters, we have the protagonist, of course, who has just returned to Ghana, and then we don't really have a consistent antagonist, but really just a variety of people that she interacts with on a daily basis who frustrate her. And so these antagonists create the experience through interacting with her, and that's really how the book is structured. There isn't really a plot as well. It's just a series of stories and memories about her experience back in Ghana. I found that because there wasn't a plot, it was hard to follow through and to see how all of this connected. It just seemed like a list of memories or like a journal entry. We didn't really read like a novel or something that was continuous. In terms of the positives, I love that it offered a candid look at Ghanaian society, very honest perspective. I love that it was an evaluation of Ghanaian society through the eyes of an outsider. In terms of the cons, yes, parts of the book are funny. Although they are funny, it can feel a bit like you're just reading a critique of Ghanaian society, and it's just consistently negative. So while there is humor in that, it can get a bit exhausting to read, and so I found it very difficult to read the book. Although I got through the first half really quickly, by the second half I was quite, I guess, tired of the tone. I didn't feel like it was progressing or going forward. But I wanted to share this book with you just to have an interesting conversation about the dynamics of being a Ghanaian, or let's say an African who's moved away from home and come back, and the dynamics of returning back into your home country and resettling, and the different interactions that happen as a result of that. So before we move forward, I'm going to read a few excerpts and then we'll go from there. This one is titled, Are You Sure? Are you sure? If I had 100 CDs for every time I heard that question, I wouldn't be here telling this story, but somewhere on a beach in the northeast of Brazil. There's nothing wrong with dreaming, is there? Now, considering the millions of CDs needed to fulfill my dream of being on that beach in northeast Brazil, you can imagine how often I hear, are you sure? Why do Ghanaians have to, are you sure everything? I know it's not the intention, but every time I hear that phrase, it's as if my honesty is being called into question. There's nothing wrong with questioning things. It's healthy to have a certain level of curiosity, but people don't seem to understand the things they really ought to, like how is the VAT money that's being collected used to benefit Ghanaians, or what is going wrong with the basic infrastructures of society. Corruption, crime, education, health, and the devaluing CD, etc., etc. should be burning issues. No, it seems those things aren't important. What is important is something trivial like me declaring I'm a Ghanaian. Oh yes, that's what gets questioned instantly. Are you sure? So she gives an example. She was in a restaurant with a friend, and the waiters came up to her and were asking her a question. And so this is how the conversation went. The waiter one says, "You are Malian?" She says, "No, I'm not." I, through experience, decided to go through the motions with them after all they had already decided where I had come from. Ghanaians know everything, and those who are seriously afflicted tend to be of the male species. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. So the conversation goes on. The second waiter says, "You see, I told you she's Senegalese." And she says, "No, I'm not Senegalese either." And then the first waiter goes, "Are you sure?" And then the conversation goes on and she just plays along with them. But I definitely relate to this because are you sure is kind of, it's just a common thing that people say. And are you sure to the smallest things. And the funny thing is, coming back, I'm finding myself using that phrase again. Really out of humor, but it's become a habit as well. This one is called Wires Crossed, and it's about how Ghanaians don't always answer your questions the way you need them to be answered. So this one, she's at the bus stop and she's waiting for a trotro. And she goes, "Please, is this trotro passing through Achimota?" And the person says, "I don't have small coins, oh." And she says, "But is it passing through Achimota?" And the person says, "I told you, I don't have coins, oh." And she goes, "I'm not asking you whether you have coins or not. I want to know if this trotro is passing through Achimota." And then somebody else says, "Yes, it is. Thank you." Another one is about how people don't mind their privacy, your privacy. And she shares a story about how when she's going out, some people will ask her where she's going. And they'll say, oh, I didn't see you this afternoon. Or where are you going today? Or what is that? What are you doing? And I actually relate to this as well, because when I was, let's say, going out, leaving the house, people would always be asking me where I was going. I didn't quite understand how that was part of their, I guess, their daily lives. Why did they have to ask me those kind of questions? Here she's talking about being in the bank. So you're at the bank counter engaging in a private business transaction when a space invader, she calls them, comes and stands next to you watching and listening while you're writing your check or discussing your account. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? Well, she says, I was at the counter when a space invader arrived and I stopped my question hoping he'd take the hint. He didn't. Excuse me, I asked, do we have a joint account? Confusion flitted across his face. No. And she says, so why are we doing this transaction together? Please move. Buddy. So anyway, I relate to a lot of these experiences and I find it really interesting. And I wanted to know, let me know in the comments below how you relate to this story. How do you interact with people who've come back? Let's say if you live in, let's say in Ghana or a country on the continent, how do you react to people who come back? Do they act like they know everything? Do they act like they're better than everybody else? How do you respond to these kind of people? And if you, let's say, have gone back home, how did you adjust to the cultural differences and how did you balance all of that out? Really, personally, I just believe that it's important to balance the two. It's not that good for someone to come from, let's say, leave home and then come back and act like they know everything. But at the same time, there is value in having exposure to different societies and being able to put all of that together and to bring new ideas. At the same time, though, Ghanaians also need to be open to new ideas and new ways of structuring our society, but I also do see the value in culture. There are wonderful aspects of our Ghanaian culture that I love. I love the sense of community, I love the sense of togetherness. From my experience living outside, I found that there was more emphasis on individualism, let's say particularly in Canada or the US or even here in the UK. And I miss that. I miss the sense of family and the sense of community at home. So let me know in the comments below, what experiences can you share? Tell me your stories, any funny stories, any frustrations, and I will read them and respond. Alright, see you. Bye!